Hi friends, welcome back to Farm Girl Diaries. My name is Caitlin. We are in the kitchen today, but we're not cooking. We are doing some medicines and some creams and some teas that we are going to start taking as we go into winter. So I wanted to give a very, very quick update on my health. Nothing bad, but the reason why I'm doing some of these things. So first of all, I try to be as holistic as possible. For me, herbalism is something that is intimidating and overwhelming. So I've been on this journey for a couple of years. I have multiple books. I've read the books. I've watched a ton of videos. I've done a ton of research, and it's still something that's very intimidating to me. But I finally gotten to the point where I've gotten my foot wet enough that I feel like I'm starting to get a little bit more confidence or just like a little bit more knowledge into um, herbal medicine and holistic health. So we're doing a couple things today because I've had a couple of issues pop up that I want to try to correct myself rather than going to the doctor and getting put on medicines. I'm a firm believer that the earth kind of gives us a lot of what we need. And I think we've gotten to this point in society where natural things are ignored. To be this holistic person, I am kind of judged a little bit. Um, the new thought process that we are kind of fed is that anytime something happens, you have to rush to the doctor, and the doctor will give you a medicine. And the medicine always has a laundry list of side effects that could come with it. But as long as it cures what you're there for, the side effects are typically kind of ignored. See if the side effects pop up. It just seems like a game that I don't really want to play. And there are a ton of things that you can do for yourself at home that I think are well worth it. So I've been on this holistic apothecary, holistic herbal medicine journey for, like I said, a couple of years, and there are some things I swear by. One of them being my honey garlic. I I swear by my honey and garlic like nobody's business. As soon as I start feeling a little sick or I've been around somebody that's been sick, I just come home, I take a spoonful of honey garlic, and I'm great. My honey is local to me. I only use local honey. If you enjoy honey at all, get in the habit of only buying local. Local honey, well, honey in general is so good. It's a powerhouse. It's antimicrobial, it's antibacterial. I think it's even a little bit antifungal. But honey is so good for you. And when you buy a local honey, you're getting the flowers and the pollen of the plants that are around you. So there's actually been a lot of studies that honey can actually help you if you have seasonal allergies. So if you are eating honey that is local to you, taking like a spoonful of honey a day, that can help you with the allergies that you have every spring or every summer. So if you're not buying local honey, start only buying local honey. So all my honey is local, and then garlic. Garlic is great too. I think it's also antimicrobial, antifungal, antiviral. I want to say, but don't quote me on that. I always forget the words that go with them. The antimicrobial. I always get them all mixed up. But honey and garlic. This is fermented. I actually leave this on my counter year round. You can make this, let it ferment for 2-3 weeks, and then put it in the fridge. But mine just lives on the counter. And so it just keeps fermenting and getting stronger. And I think this is just a literal powerhouse. If I start feeling sick, if I start feeling anything, I take this right away, and I love it. So let's give you an update on my health otherwise. So I take the honey and garlic. I also have fire cider that I take. We need to make a new batch of fire cider. I might do that later this weekend. I'm not going to do that right now. But I also have that. We have elderberry syrup that I typically like to make. I don't have any made right now, so we might have to make that again in the coming weeks. And for the most part, those are my go-to medicines. The honey and garlic is what I start with if I've been around somebody that's been sick, or I start feeling a little sick. And typically, as long as I get that honey and garlic, as soon as I start I don't know that I feel right. As soon as I take the honey and garlic, I'm perfectly fine, or I'm typically fine. If you wait too long and the sickness kind of gets hold, like there's been days where I've been at work and it's one of those fast tracking sicknesses. I felt great waking up by like noon. I'm like, maybe I don't feel okay. And if I don't go home and take the honey garlic and I wait it out, by 4 o'clock, I'm sick. the honey garlic doesn't do anything then. So you have to get the honey garlic right at the start of any sicknesses that you have. Once I do get sick though, or if I can tell my body's really fighting something, or I've been around somebody that has like a heavy cold, like the flu, I will take my fire cider. So I'll keep taking the honey and garlic. I take the honey garlic up until I get sick. If I actually get sick, I do stop the honey and garlic. I don't think it does anything for me then, but you can continue with it. But then I'll start taking the fire cider, and I will take the fire cider throughout any sickness. The fire cider, if you're not familiar, it is just a concoction of all natural things: jalapenos, oranges, onions, rosemary, garlic, turmeric. You can really add anything you like, chili peppers, anything you like, and all of these ingredients have super medicinal benefits. You kind of put it all together. You put apple cider, you let it steep in apple cider vinegar for a couple of weeks, and then you strain it, and then you like take it like a shot. It's terrible. I think it's absolutely awful. But I will say, when if the honey garlic isn't doing it, the cold's already kind of here, then I'll start the fire cider, and then that typically does wipe it out. So I like to always have fire cider on my shelf, and I do. So those are kind of my traditional. I always have these on the shelf, and I use them regularly. Then I also have, and we did this video together. We've actually done all of these videos together. There is a playlist I'll link down below where I show you how to make all of these things. But once I get sick, I have a brand, or I have a collection of teas that I like to drink once I get sick. I have a fever breaking tea, a nausea tea, a sore throat tea, and a nausea, sore throat, fever breaking. I forget the fourth one. But it's this collection of teas that I have, and typically my favorite one that I've had so far is the sore throat tea. If you have a little bit of a sore throat, maybe you are sick, maybe you had like a night you went to a concert and you were screaming the whole night, the sore throat tea I think is very good, but it helps you feel better. So I don't typically get sick. The last time I was sick actually kind of goes into what we're going to talk about today. I got COVID over a year ago, last September. We're in December now. I got COVID last September, and that's the last time I've been sick. And I used to think that it's because I'm not going around people that are sick, but I've actually gotten to the point, all of my friends had kids, and I want to hang out with my friends, and it has happened numerous times. They'll text me, "Hey Kate, so-and-so is sick. It's up to you if you still want to come over." And I will always go over. I actually just skipped one time because one of my closest friends' son was sick right before Thanksgiving, and I didn't want to take a chance with Thanksgiving. But typically, I don't care if anyone's sick. I'll still go over. I don't mind it. Because I do believe that I built up such a heavy immune system that I don't get sick. Now let's knock on wood here. Knock a little harder. I typically don't get sick. And so again, when I start feeling a little iffy, I'll come get that honey and garlic. I'll come get all these things. But it is rare, incredibly rare for me to get sick. And so I kind of attribute it to all the ways I've changed my lifestyle with the food I put in my body, these things that I do already, and what we're going to do today. I think the holistic route has made me a ton healthier. On top of this, I also drink a lot of kombucha. We're going to talk about kombucha in a second, but I do really believe that kombucha is part of a healthy body and a healthy immune system. Your gut health is really important across the board, and I think kombucha is one of those things that also really helps to put good biotics into your gut and helps with your gut health a lot. So kombucha is also a daily thing I take to help me make sure that I'm staying in tip-top shape. So all of that to say, we're 10 minutes in, and let's talk about what I have going on with me right now. So I have 2 things happening. I have 3 things happening, and we are going to try to fix them ourselves. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to be making a tea. We're going to get started on a couple other projects first, but we will, in this video, be making a tea. We're going to be making a mullein tea. So I have never been diagnosed with asthma. I am very out of shape. But I do remember my entire life, even like a little kid, I would run. I would get very out of breath. I'd have a hard time breathing, but I always was able to like breathe. I never had any issues. So never thought I had asthma, never had any concerns. So the past 2 summers, there have been wildfires kind of like near us. In Canada, there were wildfires. I think was it this summer or last summer that came down and they affected our air quality here. We had a lot of smoke down here. This summer we had fire summer. Again, we had air quality alert warnings down here. And they got to the point that the air quality alerts were pretty bad. And they were saying if you're older, if you have lung issues, if you have asthma, stay inside. You won't be able to breathe. You have issues. Don't exert yourself. Stay inside. And so I had none of these issues. I don't have lung issues. I don't have asthma. I don't have anything. So during these air quality alerts, I went about life as normal. And I realized that when I would go outside, I would, even if I was just like walking from like my truck into the store, I would get into the store and I'd have a very hard time breathing. So how it actually happened is at work, we went on a walk. During one of these air quality alerts, I came back and I was really struggling to breathe. I just felt like I had something sitting on my chest. And I felt like I was like pushing like this elephant up and down on my chest. Right after, it was actually like all day. And so I never went on any more walks. I kept saying, like, I can't breathe. Like, how are you guys going on walks? Like, I can't breathe. This air quality is really affecting me. And that's when I kind of realized that nobody else had any issues. I was the only one in our office that I knew of, or out of the people that I talked to, I was the only one that felt like they had something sitting on their chest. And I started like asking my other friends around me. I'm like, well, can you go outside and breathe? What does it feel like when you come inside? And every single other person that I talked to who also does not have asthma said they felt fine. They're like, we don't notice anything. We don't have any issues. So that's kind of raised maybe a little bit of a red flag. Do I have asthma? Do I have some sort of lung problem that I couldn't, like I physically struggled to breathe? Not to the point that I need to go to the hospital, that my oxygen was low, anything like that. But I just felt like I was like pushing something up and down on my chest. And it was very annoying. It wasn't painful, but it was very annoying, and I was aware that I wasn't breathing as easily as I normally do. So, should I go to the doctor and find out what that is? Probably. Are we going to? No. We're going to make a tea. So, mullein is, I think I'm actually saying that wrong. Mullein. I think it's mullein. Is a herb that, it's a plant that actually just grows kind of like along the roadside. We have planted, I have seeds. I'm trying to get my own patch established. But it's a great tea for lungs, or it's a great herb for lungs. I just watched Whispering Willow. Jill at Whispering Willow just did a video today on her winter apothecary, and she kept using the word powerhouse. And she used powerhouse in response to mullein. And so now that's all I want to say about mullein is a powerhouse. And so I'm kind of stealing that word from Jill. But it's a great lung tea. So this summer, or I guess it was this fall, sometime recently, one of my girlfriends was mowing her bank at her house, and it was a lot of dirt because it was dry, and she ended up inhaling a lot of dirt. And so she said for the next like 2 days, again, she just felt like her lungs were cruddy. She could tell that she had inhaled dirt and she was not having a good time. So I said, let's drink this lung tea. And so I have an herbal book, and it was mullein, it was marshmallow root, and one other thing, I forget what the other thing is. And we made this tea, which tasted delicious, and she drank this tea, and she said she felt better. Now, was it she felt better because of the tea, or because it had been a couple of days that she had this crud in her? I have no idea, but it does work. Mullein is a great herb for lungs. So I want to whip up a batch of this tea, and I just want to start drinking it kind of on the daily. And then, especially if I have this lung tea ready, if I know we have an air quality alert, I do have the alerts on my phone for like weather, and that's where they come through. If I see that we have an air quality alert coming, I kind of have this tea ready, and I can kind of preempt anything that might be happening and try to drink this tea and try to just give my lungs a little extra boost. So we're going to do that. That's issue number one. I'm going to make this tea. It does taste actually really good, so I think I'm going to enjoy drinking it. And we're just going to kind of make a big batch of it, put it back, and then if we need it, we have it. And we're going to drink it, like I said, daily. Let's see. What is the second issue? Oh, the second issue is it's actually getting a little bit better. I don't know what, but I still don't know what this is. So when I decided to do this video, I had to order arnica flowers from Amazon. If you're ordering herbs, I do prefer to order from, my go-to place is Mountain Rose Herbs, I think it's called. I'll look and I'll make sure I put it down below. But I've ordered a ton of herbs there. It's great. But I just needed one thing of arnica flowers, so I did order these I think they're organic. Yeah. Oh, it doesn't say organic, but I'm pretty sure the website said organic. But arnica flowers. So I had to order this and wait for this. So probably for about 4 weeks, I've been struggling with some hand pain that I am attributing to arthritis. I don't know if it is or not. I'm only 33, so I don't think I should be having arthritis issues, but I don't really know what the issue is. But what I have happened is my joints in my hands hurt, especially my index finger. That joint has really been bothering me to the point that like I can't stretch my hand too far. Like I can feel all of these joints right now. And then I was getting some weakness in this finger. I would pick something up, and I could tell that my finger was trying to give out. And then too, like I can normally like twist things open with this hand, and I've been losing the grip in this hand. So I've done some research, and the only thing I can kind of come up with right now is possibly arthritis. So I was kind of kicking back and forth that I might have like rheumatoid arthritis. A quick Google search, and I just like zoned in on rheumatoid. But then I had my knee problem happen. So last summer, I don't think I talked with this actually last summer. The last summer, I dealt with for months and months and months. I dealt with a knee problem. So what it ended up being is I had a swollen kneecap. So if this is my knee here, if I go behind 90 degrees, so like if I'm at 90 degrees, I'm fine. But if I go behind 90 degrees, like I'm sitting on my knee, or I'm sitting cross-legged, my kneecap is swollen, and it will get locked. So I won't be able to open my knee at all. And I'll kind of like walk around having to like work on my knee, trying to get it to like open back up. So I went to an orthopedic doctor last summer after a couple months of this. They put me on steroids, and they gave me like 3 months of medicine. And I'll be honest, so that happened in July. I got COVID very badly in the beginning of September, and I attribute that the fact that I got COVID, and especially the fact that I got COVID as bad as I did, to the fact that I was on steroids. Steroids had shut down an immune system, and now I was on this other medicine trying to fix my knee. So I kind of don't want to go back to the doctor for my knee because I don't want to shut down my immune system in the middle of winter. I 100% attribute the fact that I got COVID as badly as I did to the medicine that I was on for my knee. And to be completely honest, the medicine didn't work. The medicine did not work at all. Over time, it eventually healed. So what happened is it flared up this weekend. I was sitting cross-legged, and then it took me actually a couple of times to sit cross-legged and getting up and trying to like work out my knee before I realized what had happened. So I was Googling because I'm like, I don't remember what I did to fix the knee. Like I went the herbal route, I think, and I'm like, I don't remember what I did. So I was Googling, and Googling said the reoccurrence of a swollen kneecap can be an indication of an underlying disease. I, of course, panic. What does that mean? And the disease is some sort of arthritis. So knowing I had the hand problems going on, I attribute that to the knee. It's no longer, I'm no longer thinking I have rheumatoid arthritis because rheumatoid affects all of your joints on both, or it affects joints on both sides of your body. Right now, the only issues I'm having are on the left side of my body. But the fact that I've had these swollen kneecaps twice in a year and a half is a little concerning for me. The first time I had it, I attributed it to, oh, I'm in the garden, I'm planting, I'm doing a lot of squatting. So that is normal. I'm not in the garden. I'm not squatting right now. So how I got a swollen kneecap now doesn't really make any sense to me. So we are going to be making a cream that we are going to use to try and see if we can't help this pain, whatever I have going on. Now, I will say I don't know what's going on with my hand. I was at work 2 days ago, and my index finger got caught on something, and I forget what I got caught on. All I remember is it hurt like the dickens. Like I popped something. I didn't hear it pop, but I moved the finger. The finger got stuck. I stretched the finger. It hurt like the dickens. It was a terrible pain. But immediately after, the normal like ache that I had had for weeks was gone. So right now it feels sore, but it's not the same pain that I've had. So I don't know. But we already have the arnica flowers. So we're just going to go ahead and we're just going to make this cream. It's going to be good anyway. It's an arthritis cream, but it's also just like a pain relief, nourishing cream. So it has some good things in there that I think it's good for inflammation. So it'll be good for the knee. So it'll do good things. So we're still going to make it and see see what it does. But with that said, when I was Googling and doing some research on herbal remedies for arthritis, a lot of the things that I saw talked about your gut health. So I immediately started instituting more kombucha back into my diet. And so that's what I'm kind of wondering if the first go round when I had the swollen knee, I drink a lot of kombucha in the garden. I like go for my garden walks in the evening and I either pour myself a cocktail or pour myself a glass of kombucha. And right now I'm not doing garden walks, so I'm not pouring anything. So I've gotten in the habit of I'm trying to have kombucha at least every other day. Again, focus on that gut health and see if I haven't had kombucha in a very long time. Probably had like a kombucha a month at this point. I've really gotten off of it, just because I haven't been in the garden. So I'm trying to get back in that. Well, I am back in the habit of having kombucha at least every other day or so to focus on that gut health, and we're gonna see if that does anything to help with my knee. Other things I thought about doing is making sauerkraut. So I already make sauerkraut and I can sauerkraut. But sauerkraut, when you can it or freeze it, you get rid of a lot of that fantastic gut health that sauerkraut has. A fresh sauerkraut that hasn't been frozen or canned or cooked has so many probiotics in it. There's so much good bacteria. I think that's the word I mean instead of probiotics. It has so much good bacteria and it's so great for your gut health. So what our grandparents and great grandparents did decades ago is they would keep a crock of sauerkraut in their fridge and they would just have a spoonful of it or a forkful of it every single day. And it wasn't like a side dish. It wasn't something necessarily cooked with. This was something that they ate for health reasons. So if I think that the kombucha is either working and not working fast enough, or it's not doing what I want it to do, my next backup plan is to go to the sauerkraut route and make sauerkraut and start having a forkful of that every day, again, just to focus on the gut health. I am a little offended that if my knee and my hand are acting up because my gut isn't happy, I am a little offended because I think I eat really well. So I'm trying not to like take it personal if my gut health isn't 100% right now, but if it's not 100%, we are going to do everything in our power to get it to 100%. Other things I thought about too were other fermented foods. So I've dabbled a little bit in fermented foods. Fermented foods that I do so far are kombucha, sourdough, and sauerkraut. You can ferment veggies, kimchi is fermented. You can do a lot of other things with fermented foods, and it's all, again, very good for you. So we'll see how this kind of goes, but that's another thing I thought about doing too, possibly making a couple different ferments and incorporating that into our daily diet to, again, help just keep everything functioning correctly. So we're going to make that cream now. And the second cream we're going to make while I kind of have everything out is we're just going to make a calendula lavender salve. So I have dry hands. It's winter time, and I am definitely focusing on dry hands, or I'm definitely experiencing dry hands and like dry skin in general. So I have a beef tallow that I put on my face whenever I experience any sort of dryness on my face. But I'm noticing my hands are super dry. I have a body cream, like an organic natural body cream at work that I use. However, there's no medicinal benefit to that cream. It just smells really good and it's organic. So I want to do a medicinal cream. And I've noticed that cream honestly isn't helping my hands. I'm still dealing with like some dry hands. So we're going to try to make a cream to use for dry hands that not just moisturizes, but helps heal. So I've talked for almost half an hour at this point. So let's go ahead and get started on this. It's going to take a couple of hours to do, and I'll explain why in a second. But let's go ahead and get started. So we are going to be starting with making our oils. So when we do any sort of cream or a salve, you make an oil. So this doesn't look like anything, but this is my calendula oil. So all you do is you take, what we're going to do, we're going to take oil and we're going to take our herbs. I'm going to combine them together. Give me 1 second and I'll show you one that I have had going for a couple of months at this point. So this is my oregano oil. I'm actually going to strain it while I brought up my strainer today. Oregano oil has a ton of medicinal benefits. I have this for any sort of skin cut that I have, for poison ivy, anything like that. I've actually seen some studies on recently that oregano is much stronger than pharmaceuticals. And so you can put oregano up against pharmaceutical drugs and oregano wins every single time. So oregano is really, really good both internally, within, internally, what's what I'm looking for? Don't use a ton of it, but you can use a little bit of it. Is how I'm trying to say, but I forget the word I'm looking for. But I'm having this mainly for outside issues, rashes, poisons, cuts, anything like that. So oregano oil, if you don't have this, this is really great. This, all I did is I took organic fresh oregano and I put this in this jar and I covered it with olive oil. I've been letting this sit actually this has been going for a couple of months now. So typically this is how I do all of my oils. I like to make them ahead of time and then I have them. This calendula oil I actually made like 3 years ago, I think. This is an old oil. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to use it and we're going to give it a little boost today because it is a little bit old. But make your oils and just add your ingredients and put them away, let them sit in the dark, and then you have them when you're ready. Today, however, I don't have 4 to 6 weeks to let my herbs sit in oil, so we're going to fast track this. I'm going to put them in hot water to help them infuse a little bit quicker. So I'm going to put this guy to the side because I am going to strain him later. So let's get started first and foremost on our oil for our what I'm calling like the arthritis cream. I don't really know what to call that. This is kind of my idea, but I did last minute decide to go look on the Nerdy Farm Wife. The Nerdy Farm Wife. I'll put it here. I'll put the link here too, or the name here too. This is a great website. This lady has a fantastic, I think she has a YouTube too, but her website's fantastic and she has a ton of herbal recipes on there. So I just went on there to see if she had anything for arthritis, and she actually had almost the exact same. She had the physical recipe, but it was the exact same plan of what I was going to do. So I am using her measurements, but this is what, when you look for arthritis, these herbs are the best things for arthritis, inflammation, and pain relief for this type of thing. So what I mean by pain relief is I'm talking more so about inflammation. Calendula is great for pain. There's a number of other herbs that are great for pain. This is more so just focused for inflammation, swollen muscles, stuff like that. So we're going to start with, I have little pint jars that I'm going to put my herbs in, and then I'm going to top them off with oil. So as I go down my herb list for the arthritis, I'm going to talk about what we're doing. So our first thing that we're going to do is we're going to do 1 tablespoon of cayenne pepper. This is my normal cayenne that I cook with. Cayenne, oops, wrong one. Cayenne brings a good heat to this oil, to this cream, that really helps with that anti-inflammation. You know, when you have swollen muscles, you put heat on it. Well, this cayenne kind of acts that same way. It brings a wonderful heat to, not a physical heat, but it helps your muscles greatly. Turmeric is actually another great recipe. And what we're actually going to do with turmeric as well, we're going to add a tablespoon of turmeric in here. This is different than the Nerdy Farm Wife. She doesn't have the turmeric, but turmeric is really good for your joints. And what I'm going to do, my mom has sworn by this, so we're going to start doing this too. She takes an eighth of a teaspoon of turmeric every single day and like a shot of water, and she just downs that. And she said that it really helps her joints. And she can tell when she doesn't take it, she gets stiff. And so I'm definitely dealing with some stiffness, I think. Especially I sit all day at work, so that's not uncommon. So I think I'm going to start doing that too. So I brought up a little vessel. We're going to put some our turmeric into that little vessel, and we're going to start taking that, just a shot of water, half a tablespoon or half a teaspoon of turmeric, and we're going to start taking that every day too to help with our joints. In my jar next, we're going to do 2 tablespoons of arnica flowers. So I think I'm saying that right. This is arnica. This is what I just bought. And this is really, really good for arthritis and anti-inflammation. So I didn't have this on hand. So I'm happy that I bought that. Okay. And then we're going to take 1 teaspoon of dried ginger. So these 4 herbs together are really, really good for arthritis anti-inflammation, and some pain relief for your joints. So I think this is going to be really, really good. So I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to get these all mixed together. So I'll show you what we have. We just have a little collection of herbs. Let me see. A little collection of herbs down there. Now this jar is 18 ounces. I am going for 8 ounces of oil. So I'm using just an avocado oil. You can use an olive oil. I'm using avocado just because it is a little bit cheaper than my olive oil, and I think it might be a little bit more nourishing. So I'm just going to eyeball this. This recipe only makes 8 ounces of oil. I don't think that's quite enough yet. Let's keep going. So this jar is 18 ounces. So half of 18 is 9. Let's go just under half. Okay, let's see, that's pretty good. Okay, so let me go ahead. I'm going to give this a stir. Okay. Now, you could put the lid on this and put this to the side, or and let it sit for 4 to 6 weeks, or you can do what we're going to do, and I'll show you that in a second, but let's go ahead. I'll put that to the side for a second, and we're going to make the second oil, and this oil is the oil for the dry skin cream. So I'm starting with calendula oil because I already had this calendula oil made and I want to use it. But if you, and I'm going to add some more calendula to it because this is a little old. But I'm just going to start with adding my oil. So instead of adding avocado oil, I'm just going to start with the calendula oil base that I already have. And we're going to go a little bit more. Okay. You know what? We're going to double this batch because this is going to make a cream. So I'm going to go for 16 ounces. So we're just going to stop just shy of full. Okay. Oh, and I need to go down and get more calendula. Oops, I forgot to bring up my calendula. Let me pause. I'll go get my calendula and we'll be right back. Jar of calendula. So I'm going to start by adding, I'm just going to eyeball a tablespoon or so. Well, they're whole flour, so I'm just going to add some calendula in there. Just give my calendula oil a little bit of a boost. Okay. And then we're going to add, this didn't give any measurement, so we're just going to kind of eyeball. I'm going to add a tablespoon of lavender. I do also have a lavender oil that maybe I should have used, but that's okay. And then we're going to add a tablespoon of chamomile. Chamomile is a great relaxant herb. It goes great in tea. I'm getting a little low on chamomile, so I need to make a note. I need to buy some of that, or I need to grow some of that next year and harvest. Okay, so now I'm going to top this off with some coconut oil. And coconut oil, you don't have to use coconut oil. It just is going to bring a different level of creaminess to this. Now I made this really full, so now let's get a lid on it and we're going to shake it rather than stirring it because I made this pretty full. That's really full. First, look at that. The big white blobs of the coconut oil. And the coconut oil also helps solidify this. I don't have enough in here for the amount of oil that I have, but we'll add more when we do when we make the cream, and it'll help solidify this. Look nice. Actually, it's kind of cool. Okay. And then let me get this. And another great way to bring medicinal herbs into your everyday usage is to use medicinal herbs and to use your flavored oils for salad dressings. So you can think about, instead of maybe medicinal usage, you can think about, how do I want to make a really good salad dressing, and then bring in all these different herbs that bring in taste, but then also are going to do those medicinal benefits. So there's a great way to incorporate, there are a lot of different ways you can incorporate medicinal herbs into your everyday usage. My honey and garlic, for example, I can cook with this, and I do cook with this often. If I need to add honey to like a meal, like an Asian meal, or if I'm adding honey to anything other than like a baked recipe, like I'm not going to add garlic to like a applesauce cake. But if I'm like cooking on the stove and I need to add honey to sweeten something up instead of maybe adding sugar, a lot of times I'll add my honey and garlic, and again, it's giving me some good medicinal benefits. So let's take this over to the counter behind you, and I'm going to show you how we're going to get these oils infused. So I have my crock pot on. I just have it filled with water, and I have it on high. And so the water is getting nice and warm. Now you can do this on the stove too, but it takes a couple of hours. So I just want to kind of leave this pot of water on high. I put my herbs in it, and we'll probably come back tomorrow to finish these products up. I want them to go for multiple hours. It's 2 o'clock right now, so I don't think they'll be done today. So we're going to leave these in here at least until we go to bed tonight, and then I will probably turn the heat off. I don't like to leave crock pots on when I'm gone. But by tomorrow, they will be nice and infused. Okay, now we're going to make the tea. So I'm just kind of putting everything into a bowl, get it nice and mixed, and I'm going to put it into my jar. I like to keep all of my different tea blends in these jars I got from the dollar store. So when we're done, I'll add my label first that says lung tea. Okay, so in my bowl, I'm going to start with, I'm actually going to double this recipe because this only is supposed to make 8 ounces. So we are going to double. I'm going to do, so the recipe calls for 2 teaspoons. I'm going to make 4 teaspoons. 4 teaspoons of mullein. Next, 1 teaspoon of chamomile. So I'm doubling. So we're going to do 2 teaspoons of chamomile. A little bit more, because why not? 1 teaspoon of mint. Where did I put the mint? I brought the mint. Oh, there it is. So my mint is not ground up, it's just leaves. So I'm just going to get some out and grind it. It smells like mint. I'm just getting a couple leaves out and just grind it. So the recipe calls for half a teaspoon of mint. I'm doubling it, so I'm going with about a teaspoon of mint. Of peppermint. I think this is actually spearmint, but I don't think that'll be bad. Calls for a teaspoon of elderflower. I don't have that. Half a teaspoon of licorice root. So I'm just going to do a full teaspoon. This stuff adds a taste. I'm pretty sure that one is one of my least favorite tasting herbs. I hate licorice. I don't think it tastes like licorice, but definitely has like flavor to it. And then my recipe doesn't call for this, but I really like marshmallow root. I think marshmallow root adds a nice flavor, and marshmallow root is good for like your throat. If you have like a sore throat, marshmallow root is soothing. So I'm gonna add I did a tablespoon of marshmallow root, and that's what my other recipe called. My other recipe was the mullein and marshmallow root. So we're gonna do that. You can see the licorice. I don't know if you can see the licorice powder. That's why I don't like the licorice. The powder goes everywhere. And that only made that much, which is honestly like, I don't know, not enough. It's not a lot of tea. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to probably triple this recipe. So let me go ahead and add some more of everything back in here and triple this recipe. Licorice root just comes up like a powder. You taste it. Okay. So now I'm going to add this to my jar and get it jarred up. And then when we want to make this tea, we'll just take a little, I have a tea ball. I'll fill the tea ball with some tea and let it steep for 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, I'm going here. Give it a good shake. Keep that licorice root kind of contained. So we have that tea ready to go to help with our lung health. And the last thing I want to do while we're here is, oh, is that oil? No, yeah. I have this little vial. It says it's a girl. My mom got these at the dollar store. And while it says it's a girl, and that's kind of weird because I'm not having a baby, I think it works great as just a little like spice holder, which is exactly what my mom was thinking of when she bought this for me. Come on. I need a chopstick. It's gotten stuck. So I'm filling this vial with turmeric. Here we go. Because this big jar of turmeric lives downstairs. And so I'm just going to fill this and put this little container by my sink so that I remember to take this every day to help with my joints. If I can get it, I don't know why it's not going down. I'll put it down here. We have it filled, so that's just going to live. I wish I could take these. There's not even a sticker. It's printed on there. Anyhow, I'm like, can I peel that off? I'm just going to turn that to the back. I'm going to put that little vial of turmeric here on my counter. I'm going to get in the habit of taking that every day. Another thing that we are taking, where is it? Here. Not every day. I really need to start trying to take this stuff every day. At this point, I can take them like every other day or every 2 days. I'm taking tart cherry supplements. So tart cherry is really good for your knees, for your back. It's really good for joint health. And tart cherry is actually, again, one of those things that is supposed to be very, very good for you. It helps with a lot of different things. Let me see what it says on here. It doesn't say what it helps for, but I take tart cherry for my my knee. When my knee was acting up, before it was locking up, before I had the swollen kneecap that I have now, I just have pain from sitting all day at my office job. And so I was taking tart cherry to help with that, but tart cherry also helps with gout. I'm pretty sure it also helps with cancer. You can drink tart cherry juice, but you need to drink quite a lot of it. So I bought the pills off of Amazon. And that's what I have tried also to take. And I can tell on days I don't take the tart cherry pill, and on days that I do. I definitely do see a little bit of a difference, I think, but I'm still not great at taking it every day. So we have our tea made for our lung health. That's great. We have our oils going. So we'll be back tomorrow to talk about our oils. Okay, friends, it is the next day. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to finish up these creams that we started infusing yesterday. So I have a lot going on in the kitchen right now. So here is the one infused oil. This one, I forget which this one is. This one is the Arthritis cream. It has the arnica flowers, the turmeric, the ginger, the cayenne. And then here is our calendula oil. And this one's going to be for our cream for our hands. So first I want to get started on the Arthritis cream. And we're doing these a little bit differently than I've ever done before. So we're going to do one way and then one a completely different way, a brand new way to me. So I just have here, it's, I think my mom had it for tea. I actually don't know what my mom had it for, but it's just the little dish with a little sieve that goes in it. It's probably not going to hold all of it, but I'm just going to go ahead and bring you down and show you. I'm just going to go ahead and strain out these herbs. Oops, I don't want to overflow this. Hard to see, there we go. Okay, let's start right there for right now. Okay, I have 2 pots of water going on the stove, a double boiler, and then just a hot pot of water that I have turned off, but it's nice and warm. And to the double boiler, I'm going to add some beeswax of some sort. These are beeswax pellets. So first we're making the arthritis cream. So I just want to do a little bit of beeswax pellets. And then I also have some kokum butter. Kokum butter is a cosmetic butter. It's used to soften your skin without leaving a greasy residue. So I thought that would go really good in this. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add a hunk of this. I can't break it. I need a knife. And you can use shea butter. You can use cocoa butter. You can use whatever you want to use. But I'm going to go ahead and just kind of pull off some kokum butter. And then let me get my container. A couple years ago, I was gifted like a kit to make your own candles. And they came with these really, really cute containers. And so I keep these containers specifically for creams and salves. Because who doesn't want something pretty like that? You can put in your purse, put in your vehicle. Works well. So the purpose of the beeswax here, and I don't have a lot in here. The beeswax is already starting to melt, so we just need to let that shea butter melt, or the kokum butter melt. The purpose of the beeswax is going to solidify this. So I think I actually need to add a little bit more beeswax. I don't think I added enough. You can measure this, or you can also eyeball it. I'm gonna add just a little bit more beeswax. I eyeball. For this recipe, I'm gonna eyeball. But the beeswax acts as your solidifier, and the kokum butter is going to act as both a solidifier and a nice softener for your hands. We might, and we can kind of play with this. If we take this off the heat and it doesn't start to harden or to soften up enough, we'll just remelt it and add some more of either the beeswax or the kokum butter. At this point, you can add essential oils. What I also want to say, I lost my train of thought. If you use coconut oil as your oil to infuse, when that cools, your cocoa butter will also help to solidify. So one of these oils, we use a little bit of cocoa butter, so that will also help it solidify throughout this process. So you don't want it to stay a runny oil. So I have my mixture melted. So now we're going to go ahead and add in our infused oil. So I'm just going to do 1, 2, 3. Let's do, I'm trying to eyeball to fill my little container. I did 6 tablespoons. let that go because that's getting a little melty on it. And then I'm going to add, I'm thinking as I'm going, I want this to be more creamy than I do beeswaxy. So I'm just going to add a little bit more cocoa butter. If you add too much beeswax, it's going to be completely fine. It's just going to be a little bit of a hard of a salve. So you just have to kind of rub it in the container a little bit more to get to soften up. It also is obviously going to vary, change with temperature. So my house doesn't have any air conditioning. So in the summer, when it gets a little warmer in my house, these things will definitely soften up a lot more. So you just want to be mindful of that. So at this point, like I said, you can add essential oils. I could add in anything maybe for scent, or if I want to add any more essential oils for a skin healing property, I can do that. But I think I'm going to leave this as it is right now. I was just thinking I could add in some of my oregano tincture. I think let's just go ahead and do that. That won't hurt anything. The oregano tincture will not hurt anything. I don't have this strained, so I'm just going to be very careful when we dollop some in here. I'm going to do a little bit of oregano. And then again, all that's doing is just bringing some more healing properties to this cream. So I just want to go ahead and get that cocoa butter melted fully. And that's it. We're going to put this in a container. And we're going to apply this daily. Okay, we're almost there. And then you want to be careful because this glass bowl is incredibly hot. And this tin will get incredibly hot as we pour. And as soon as this comes off the heat, it will start hardening. You have to work quickly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this heat off for a second so I don't have an active flame. I'm going to see how this goes. I'm going to hold the tin. I'm going to try to pour. Oh, this is hot. That is hot. These are not working as well as they should be. Let me get a different hot pad. Okay, we're almost filled. I just have a smidgen left, probably less than a teaspoon left, but my container is full. So I'm going to go ahead and very carefully put this on a counter away from the heat so it can start to cool and solidify. Okay, perfect. So that arthritis cream is done. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to strain out the rest of my arthritis oil. I have some gunk left at the bottom, just the turmeric and the flowers. I'm going to go ahead and get that cleaned off. And then we're going to put this oil right back in here and I'm going to label it right away so I don't forget which one this is. Because once we strain them, they look almost identical. Okay, I actually went ahead and I washed the jar because there was a lot of gunk. There was like a lot of stuck turmeric and flowers left in the bottom of it. So I'm actually just going to let this dry. So I'm going to move this and the arthritis oil away, let this dry, and then I'll pour them in a little bit later. So I'm going to get a different jar to do the hand cream. And this one is going to be a little bit different. So this first process, that's how I typically make my salves. This one involves a blender. So what we're going to do is I actually have a blender where I have a pot with some steaming hot water. We're adding this to the blender because we want to get the blender warm because we're going to actually put this mixture into the blender and kind of cream it, foam it, something like that. So I'm going to take the hot water and sit it there. I then need to have, how much water do I need yet? Forget. I need 1 cup of water to add to the mixture. So this one we are going to measure. So I'm going to add 1 cup of water to this pot and get it boiling. Okay, so I'm going to put this back onto the stove. And then I'm going to put this, which still has a little bit of oil from the other mixture. That's going to be okay. I'm not worried about it. I'm going to put that back over the stove, over the double boiler, and put that on low. Okay, so let's come back over here. So now we want to strain our calendula oil mix. So, okay. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to let that sit for a little bit. We're going to use this first. Okay, so you just want 1 ounce of beeswax. Perfect. There we go. So I'm going to add this back to my double boiler. Okay, and this one doesn't call for any cocoa butter or any shea butter. So we are just going to follow the directions and we're going to do the beeswax. So this one calls for beeswax, water, and then our oil. So we're going to let that beeswax melt. And then the recipe says we want to put in 1 cup of oil into the double boiler. And then add beeswax until melted. So it looks like we can add our oil now. Let's come over here. Add 1 cup of oil. Perfect. And now we're just going to let that beeswax melt. Okay, I'm going to explain the next step now because I think the next step I'm going to have to work fast. So I have the hot water in the blender, and that's to warm up the blender so the plastic or the glass of the blender gets hot. So hopefully, like when this goes in, it doesn't stick. We're going to empty the water from the blender, put this mixture in the blender, and slowly drizzle in this 1 cup of hot water, and it should kind of emulsify and become creamy. And then it's done. Again, you can add essential oils into this. I'm just leaving this as is. And then this is going to be our hand cream that's going to hopefully help with our dry skin. So I turned my hot water off because my hot water was boiling. So now we're just waiting for this beeswax melt. That was a little scary. My mixer only has 1 speed, and I would have liked a low speed. So we have what I think appears to be like a little emulsified mixture. I don't know how long I'm supposed to go. Let's go ahead and put it on for a little bit longer. And see what happens. I don't know what it's really supposed to do. I don't think it's supposed to get like creamy. So I'm going to go ahead and pour this into my mason jar. It's nice and, well, I guess it's not frothy, but so we'll see what this does. There's no cocoa butter in here or shea butter to make this like a softer, creamy hand cream. It's just the beeswax. And but I don't know what that water, emulsifying that water into this would have done. So I don't know. I'm gonna let this cool though. I'm gonna put this down. You can see it's kind of starting to like cool up along the edges. So I'm gonna put this on, let this cool, and I'll show you guys what it looks like when it's all done. Hi friends, it's a couple of days later and I have been actively using my cream. So I wanted to give you guys an update on the cream. So this one is the Arthritis cream and this one is hard. I added a little too much beeswax, so I just kind of have to dig my finger in there and then kind of dig some out. I've been putting it on my knuckles. Pros and cons of this cream. So first of all, I wanted to say, this is why I wanted to try it before I finish this video. Add essential oils to all of your creams. I didn't, because I didn't think I needed them, and they don't smell that good. And I'm rubbing this stuff on my hands, and it doesn't smell that good. It smells like beeswax. It smells like wax and oil. So that's the first note. Always add essential oils to your creams. Second note is it does feel a little greasy. This one does have a greasy residue. I think actually they both have a greasy residue, and that's just the oil in it, and that's the beeswax in it. I don't necessarily mind it. But it is a little greasy. But like I said, I don't mind it. I will say, I do think that the Arthritis cream really works. I've been using this on my hands for probably about a week now. Well, we made it last Sunday, today's Saturday, so almost a week. And I have noticed that my hand doesn't hurt that much anymore. So I do really like this so far. I don't know if my hand was already healing on its own. It had hurt for probably about a month to this point. I hurt it really bad right before I made this cream. So I don't really know, but I do know that my hand doesn't hurt right now anymore. And I only applied it to the knee twice, and the knee isn't really having that many issues right now. So I'm just gonna keep this. I am, like I said, I just put it on my hand. I am still using it. And we're gonna keep this on hand in case I have maybe another flare up or something else comes back. But this is good. Like I said, it's good for arthritis, but it's good for anti-inflammatory and for pain. So if I have an injury in the future, this could be helpful for that too. So we're going to keep this on hand for sure. I do like it. I do think that it is working. My hand doesn't hurt, and this is the first time that my hand has not hurt. So far, I'm going to say that I believe that did do something. The next one is, this is just the normal hand cream, but this is for just moisturize your hands, dry skin, but then we added medicinal properties in here like calendula and lavender to help with skin healing, to promote good health on our hands. And I have a couple cuts, so this could help heal those cuts. It has oregano oil in it. So this is kind of just a good all-around hand cream or body cream. Again, this is softer than the other one. It doesn't have as much beeswax in it. So it is much softer. Again, a little greasy, I'm not gonna lie. But I think it also still leaves your skin feeling really nice and nourished. A little greasy, but a little nourished. But then you just gotta kind of let that work in. And again, I think a little goes a long way. So I just put some here, and I don't feel greasy here. I just feel like I have a nice moisturizer on. So I think you just gotta use a little bit. A little bit goes a long way. But I don't know if you can tell. Probably not. Maybe there. My skin does have like a nice little oily sheen to it right now. But I do think that, like I said, I do think it works. I don't have the pain that I had, so I do think it does work. And I know I'm putting something on my skin, even if it's leaving a little bit of a greasy residue. I'm putting something on my skin that is nourishing my skin and that is doing nice things to my skin. So what I like to do is I put this on while I'm either sitting on the couch reading or I'm at work and I'm just typing. I don't really need to be up touching things. I just kind of keep rubbing it in for 5 minutes or so, and then eventually the greasiness kind of fades away. It sounds so unappetizing. Like, why do you want to make this? It leaves your skin greasy. So how would I combat that in the future? I think the thing that makes your skin greasy is both the oil, obviously, and the beeswax. So I think next time I want to use less beeswax altogether. But then I'm also wondering if I put in a cocoa butter, a shea butter, use more cocoa butter, and use more butters to kind of maybe even out the oil, if that would help at all. The thing with the oils is you are putting an oil on your hands, so you're going to have a little bit of an oily residue, but the oils have the good stuff in it that you want to use. The whole reason we made these creams is because we want to have these nourishing properties, and we want to make a product that is going to make our skin healthy and do what we need it to do. So I'm not that upset about it being greasy. Like I said, I think maybe I'm just used to it. But next time I would add a little bit less beeswax, maybe a little bit more cocoa butter, shea butter, or cocoa butter, just to kind of make it less greasy. But I think these worked really well. I have not tried the lung tea yet, I'll be completely honest. I haven't tried it yet. I keep saying I'm gonna have a cup of tea, I'm gonna have a cup of tea, and then I keep not having a cup of tea. I think right now I'm in hot chocolate season because it's almost Christmas. So I'm just making hot chocolate. But these, I think, were successes. I'm really happy with these. These at this point, and tallow, I use beef tallow on my face, but these are the only two only two creams I put on my body. I've gotten rid of everything else that is not natural, is not organic, that has anything else in it other than natural ingredients. And I'm only using these items. So I would still suggest, even with me saying they're a little greasy, I would still suggest that you try these, especially if you're having any sort of joint pain, inflammation, maybe a little bit of arthritis, dry skin, cuts on your skin, maybe some, my mom gets like rashes on her skin from washing dishes all the time. If you're having any sort of skin problems, definitely give this a try, and see, it might work. It might work for you. I do think the arthritis cream is working for me. And this hand cream is definitely nourishing my skin. My skin is very soft right now. So not as greasy already at this point. It's not as greasy. So it quickly fades, I think, away that you don't really notice it. Thank you guys for joining me on this video. I love this herbal wrap that I'm on. And I'm sure we'll be back with more in the very near future of different things that we're making, different things that we're trying to help us heal more naturally and organically and holistically. Thank you guys for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.